Hello, I'm Dr. James Forsman. I'll be your instructor for General Chemistry 2 this semester. And this is a short video introducing you to the course, showing you the requirements, and explaining some of the resources that you have available. Let's start by looking at the Canvas page. If we open that page, you'll see a series of modules. First top module has all the essential information, the syllabus, a link to the textbook, a link to Alex, and some videos that will help you with Alex. Let's begin with the syllabus itself. At the top, you'll see my name here, my email. My office location is Campbell Hall 215. That is located inside of a larger laboratory. There are 4 faculty offices that you'll see inside of that, and it is also across the hall from where you'll meet for lab. I use Zoom as a possibility as well. You can come to my office or meet me on Zoom during my office hours, which are listed here. Mondays 1 to 2, Tuesdays 11 to 12, Wednesdays 12 to 2, Thursdays 2 to 3. Other times I'm also available. You just have to reach out and suggest a time and I'll get back to you. Also listed in the syllabus is the way in which the course grade will be computed. You'll see here that it's based on exams, 40%, your Alex work, 25%, the work that you'll do in lab, and your lab instructor will report to me a score that will weight into the final grade 20%, and then there will be a final exam that is 15%. For the exams themselves, there'll be 3 exams throughout the semester, but the lowest exam grade will be dropped, so we'll only count the 2 highest exam scores when we compute the overall average. I'll talk about Alex very briefly, but in more detail when we meet in person. The Alex is a way in which you can master concepts in the course. It is a adaptive type of system that for each student it will create a different set of questions based on how they're doing in the course. There's a component of getting things done on time, which is 20%, and then the remaining part of the Alex score at the end of the semester is just how many of those items that you can complete and say that you have either mastered or learned within the system. More on that in a little minute. The course grade, let's look at how that's computed. So we finish with putting together a percentage for the entire course, and then based on that percentage, you're assigned a numerical grade between 4, 3.5, 3, etc. The next thing that's available on the Canvas course page is the textbook. The textbook itself is free and open source, and what I recommend is that you actually download a copy of the textbook as a PDF rather than trying to go online every time you want to access it. And so then if you do that, it looks like this. There's a table of contents starts on page 7, and we've covered most of these chapters at the start of the book in General Chemistry 1. We will be picking up in the course that you're in now in chapter 8, starting with advanced theories of covalent bonding, valence bond theory. You can click on the actual table of contents. It takes you directly to that part of the textbook. So as I said, I recommend downloading the PDF to a device that you're comfortable with, whether it's a computer, a tablet, or even your phone, and then be able to have ready access to the textbook when you need it. The next thing that's on there is the schedule. Let's quickly look at that. I have a schedule laid out, each date that the class meets, what we will be working on, and then also which sections of the textbook that corresponds to. And then also any other due dates as far as ALEX can be found over here at the side. So what you would want to do is look at this to keep track of how to prepare for each class meeting. When we meet on Tuesday, January 31st, for instance, we will be looking at the material that's covered in sections 8.1 to 8.3. And so reading that in advance of coming to class will be important and allow you to get the most out of class that day. The ALEX is also something that you can look at in terms of a schedule. Here it shows you each of the sections of ALEX where there's going to be a set of items that are due, or topics. Let's refer to them like ALEX does, topics. The first one, and the dates that are shown here are, it's not just one time, right? It's like a segment of time. The whole course is divided up into these segments of time, and that's the time period when you want to be working on these particular topics. So for instance, the chapter 8 objectives, there's 6 topics within that, and you have from February 2nd to February 7th 5 days to work on those 6 topics. So if you do even just 1 a day and maybe 2 on the 5th day, you'll have plenty of time to complete those. What you would not want to do is wait and do all 6 at the end of this period. You may not in fact have time to complete them all. And then you also wouldn't have time to ask me about them in class if you had any questions. So think of these modules as having a time period where you're working on them throughout that period, not on just one day of that period. You may have to get adjusted to this because in your previous classes you may have been more used to having smaller things due each several days of the week, whereas here we have a longer period of time in between due dates, and you're meant to do things all throughout that time, scheduling things as you can based on your own schedule. So again, the way in which you get into ALEX is if you go to the course Canvas page, you'll see a link to ALEX listed here. If you click on that, you'll see a box down here that says ALEX. That's what you click on to go off to the ALEX system. First time that you go in there, you'll have a chance to transfer your knowledge from a previous course if you've taken one, or do a little short quiz to see what knowledge you have, and that will begin to fill all of the things that ALEX knows that you've studied. The first assignment, in fact, a lot of those things will be completed just by transferring into the course because we'll know that you have covered those items before. But any additional topics that you'll need to do before the first due date for all the prerequisite materials, that's on Wednesday that's due. So try to get into that before our first class meeting, and then if there's any issues or problems, please let me know. We can talk about it more when we meet in person. Also point out that the ALEX videos that were prepared by Dr. William Steele are very helpful. It's organized by topics, so if you're working in ALEX, having a little trouble, need an additional explanation for something, go and look here to see if there's an instructional video on that particular topic. That would be very helpful to you. So the next module that's on Canvas, that covers all the essential things. Now the next module is lecture notes. If you look inside there, what I have, first of all, the first link where it says videos, from the days when we were working during the pandemic and I had half my class online, I recorded a series of videos and I saved them. So most of the topics of the course can be revisited that way. If you want to look at the videos from that year, I have them all available through this link. The other things that are available are lecture notes. These I will print out and bring to class, but in case you miss one of the days where I hand these out, they're all available here as PDF files. What you see in the notes are, in some cases, some questions. I try to leave blank spaces for you to fill in your own notes, so you want to annotate these as we go along. I'll have sample problems. I'll have tables, data tables, information, things for us to look at and review. And then these, of course, will be the way in which you can prepare for the exams that are coming up by looking back at the handouts and the notes that you took on those handouts. So everything's organized by chapter here. The handouts one handout will last us more than one class period, because they're basically organized by the chapters that we'll be covering. There's also some reference material here. That's a third module in Canvas. A lot of this is data tables. Some of these I'll print out for you to have in class, because we'll have to refer to various constants when we're doing practice with some of the problems. But if you are missing a handout or lost it, you can always come here to Canvas and pull it up. And this is also helpful when doing ALEKS homework as well, because those problems in ALEKS will require you to use data that are found in tables, and this is where you can get that data. The last module that I'll talk about is labeled Practice Exams, and you see there the 3 exams that we'll be doing. I have examples that were used previously along with the solutions, and so when we get close to the time doing the first exam, what you'll want to do is practice by taking the exam on your own. You can check your work then, and you should try to simulate the exam conditions. In other words, find a period of time where you sit down and do the whole exam, see how long it takes you, and then also you can, anything that you got wrong or wasn't explained by the solutions, you'll want to ask me about that in class. Please resist the temptation of just looking at the solutions and saying, oh yeah, I understand that. That is just not sufficient in order to build your confidence. You really want to take the test, try the problems, get an answer, and then check your work. That's the most valuable way of using the practice exams. So that concludes the summary of the course. I thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out to me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. See you soon.